Big turnout, I win. That's what Senator Bernie Sanders says about today's Super Tuesday primaries. Which states does he think are most likely for him? What if he doesn't win? What matters going forward? Let's discuss now with the man himself, Senator Bernie Sanders, joining us from Philadelphia. Senator, thank you for joining us this morning. Good luck in the primaries as we wish all the candidates. Do you see a state tonight that you can point out and say, I think we can win there?
Well, I will give you the exact results at about 11 o'clock tonight, Chris. But I think we stand a very good chance to win some of the states today. I think we have a shot in Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Rhode Island, maybe Delaware. I think Maryland is going to be tougher for us. But I think our message that there is something wrong when the middle class continues to decline and almost all new income and wealth is going to the top 1%, that we have a corrupt campaign finance system in which super PACs and billionaires are buying elections, that is resonating all across this country. We have won 16 states so far, and I'm looking forward to winning a number more. I think we've got a path to victory, and we're going to fight this till the last vote is cast.
If Clinton gets the 200 delegates that some are estimating that she'll get out of the 385 tonight, do you still believe you have a path forward to victory?
Yeah, it's a narrow path, but we do have a path. And the idea that we should not contest in California, our largest state, let the people of California determine what the agenda of the Democratic Party is and who the candidate for president should be is pretty crazy. So we're in this to the end. And I think that when you look at national polling, where in virtually every national poll and every statewide poll, Bernie Sanders runs a lot better against Donald Trump and other Republican candidates than does Hillary Clinton. I think you got some superdelegates there who say, you know what? We need a strong candidate. We need a candidate who can beat Trump. Maybe Bernie Sanders is that candidate.
Well, it's not about what you do, I think, so much people in your party are talking about, but how. Like you just said, we need a strong candidate. At what point do you start saying that Hillary Clinton is a strong candidate? At what point do you start merging into a party-first mentality, or do you never do that?
Well, we're in this race to win, and we're in it by running an issue-oriented campaign, something that I've tried to do from day one. There are differences of opinion between Hillary Clinton and myself. And I think when you argue out those differences of opinion, I believe we should raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. She believes it should be $12 an hour. I'm for a ban on national fracking. That is not her position. I have opposed all of these disastrous trade agreements. She has supported most of them. I think, Chris, that debate is a good thing for democracy, for the Democratic Party. It gets more people into the process. It results in a higher voter turnout. And Democrats win when there is a high voter turnout. We lose when the turnout is low.
Understood. I want to ask you about who's been turning out and what it's meant to your candidacy in 1 second. But first, Secretary Clinton says, look, Sanders should run his race, stay in as long as he likes. But when I got out, I did so without conditions. I told my people in 2008, you have to be for Barack Obama. We must be one. There were no conditions. Would you support Hillary Clinton as the nominee without conditions?
Well, I think what the democratic process is about, Chris, is going to the convention and arguing about what the platform should be. I happen to believe the United States should join the rest of the industrialized world and guarantee health care to all people as a right.
But if that's not where the party comes out, Senator, would you still support it?
Chris, media spends too much time speculating. Let's see what happens.
But it's not a reach.
I mean, I think the way any
Senator,
Chris, the way
it's not a reach to say that the party won't come out single payer, that they won't come out to ban fracking across the board, that they won't come out to say free college across the board. That's why I'm asking.
Well, then we'll see what happens. We are going to have, if we don't win this thing, we're going to have a lot of delegates in Philadelphia fighting that fight. And I'm not convinced, and you don't know what the delegates there will do. If you do, please tell me, but you don't. So we are going to go to the American people and saying, this is the agenda for the working people. Yeah, the billionaire class has got to pay more in taxes. Yeah, we got to do away with these corporate loopholes that enable large multinational corporations that are given you not to pay a nickel in federal taxes. And I think that we can win some of these platform fights. The winner, whether it's Secretary Clinton or myself, our job is then to go out to the American people on a platform that makes sense to the working families of this country, and then we win with a large voter turnout.
And it will be some vote. And that is true to a large extent in those states. That's what happened. However, there are a lot of people who do vote, who do well, who have money, who work hard for it, who may feel that they are targeted by some of your proposals. When you say, I'm not for the billionaire class, I'm not for the banks, what do you say to voters who work in those banks, who believe in those systems? Do you want their votes? Do you represent them as well?
Look, there are decent people in every area of life, and I want every vote. But Chris, I've been all over this country. I've been to Flint, Michigan. I've been to Detroit, where the public school system is collapsing. Hartford, Connecticut, where half of the children in that city are living in poverty. We have a grotesque level of income and wealth inequality, where the wealthiest 20 people now own more wealth than the bottom 150 million people, where people, senior citizens and disabled vets, are trying to get by on $10,000, $11,000 a year in Social Security. I am doing my best to stand with those people. And for the billionaire class, they're doing just fine. Many of them can afford to pay more in taxes. Large profitable corporations should not be stashing their profits in the Cayman Islands and in a given year not paying a nickel in taxes. So I want everybody's vote, but I will fight for social justice, for economic justice, for environmental justice, to do everything that we can to combat the global crisis of climate change, to take on the fossil fuel industry. That's why I got into this race, and I'm going to continue to make that fight till the last vote is cast.
When I hear Sanders people debate Clinton people about which is the right nominee, it also often comes down to the ability to get it done. One of the proposals that was bubbling up, as you said, if I were president, in my first year, I would let 500,000 people, I'd get them out of the jails. They don't belong there. If you were to include all federal prisoners in that number, you'd still be hundreds of thousands short. Is that one of those? Is this an example of where what you want to do may sound great to Democratic voters, but your ability to get it done may fall short either by compromise or by policy?
Look, every proposal that we have brought forth, including what you have just talked about, whether it is making public colleges and universities tuition-free, we do that through a tax on Wall Street speculation. Rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure, creating 13 million jobs, we do that by ending this loophole that allows corporations to stash their money in the Cayman Islands and at a given year not pay a nickel in taxes. In terms of our prison population, we have 2.2 million people in jail, more than any other country on earth, disproportionately African American, Latino, and Native Americans. It is an absolute disgrace. And I'm going to invest in our kids, in jobs and education, not jails and incarceration. Now, here is one area, amazingly enough, where conservatives agree with progressives. They understand that it makes more sense to send our kids to college than to send them to jail because it's less expensive to do so. So I believe not only in terms of federal prisons, but in terms of state prisons, we in fact can work together to make sure, A, that people do not go into jail because they're going to be in school or in jobs, and B, get those people who are in jail who can get out under strong release programs out of jail. And I think we can substantially reduce the prison population.
Senator Sanders, good luck in the Northeast primaries today and going forward. As always, thank you for talking about what matters on New Day.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Mick.
All right, Chris.